All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have somebody straight from space talking about the final frontier. Niklas, take it away.
Thanks. So welcome everyone to this final talk before the final keynote. This talk is titled Space, the Final Frontier, or Building a Modern Development Platform at Swedbank. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. I'm Niklas Mörnesten. I'm a software engineer at Swedbank, and I've been there the past 11 years. And so being at a bank for that long, I have some career highlights, such as writing Hello World in COBOL and running it on an actual mainframe. I've unfortunately taken down the Swedish Internet Bank by changing a few lines of JavaScript. But more relevantly, I'm part of the platform team that's currently building the new backend application development platform called Andromeda. And so what is this? This is a visualization a colleague of mine made. Each one of these little boxes is a Java project. And the lines are, as you expect, the dependencies between these Java projects. And together, this forms a monolith. And this monolith is the Swedish Internet Bank, the old and the new. It's the mobile apps, REST APIs. It's our open banking APIs. It's our PSD2 APIs. And it's basically all of our internal web-based advisor systems as well. So, huge monolith. It's by now about 20 years old. And there's 1,800 Java projects in this image. About 16 million lines of code. And as you can expect, Swedbank employs about 1,000 Java developers. This is quite a complex beast. And so in 2019, we said enough, and we decided we will build a new platform. This was, of course, based on microservices, like everyone else is doing. And we decided to create a platform team. We also took the pretty bold decision to say there will be no migration automatically. Basically, everyone should rewrite their functionality from scratch, port it into microservices, decouple everything using APIs. We are gradually restricting the development in the monolith. And finally, the monolith will be completely decommissioned in 2029, if all goes well. And large part, this decision was taken to be able to recruit and keep our existing engineers. It's not very fun developing in the monolith compared to how it is now. Okay, so Andromeda. This is the one-liner. An application development platform with managed services for developing, deploying, and operating cloud-native applications. And so why the name Andromeda? Well, one, space is very cool. Two, well, as some say, it's a gazillion miles away and we will never reach it. That's one. But there is some truth to the distance. The journey that teams have to take, both technically and culturally, to succeed on this platform is quite large. So it makes some sense. We have 5 pillars that represent Andromeda. Number 1 is team independency. So we want teams to be completely independent in terms of deploying their software themselves. So you build it, you own it, you operate it, and use APIs to manage dependencies. We want daily deployments. This current monolith that you saw before is released once a month. And so, of course, today you want daily deployments. The developer experience is, of course, super important. And this boils down to a lot of things, like easy onboarding and getting started, like being able to experiment easily. But also just like modern technology. So, of course, we run Kubernetes now. We let teams choose between Java 17 or Java 19. We just added support for Spring Boot 3. So really like upgrading everything, more or less. We also want this to work group-wide. And so the monolith you saw here is how it looks on the Swedish side. On the Baltic side, we also have customers in the Baltic countries. We have more or less an independent tech stack. The teams and the applications there are a little bit more diverse, and they are, a little better suited for taking this step. And so, of course, we want to build a platform that caters to both the teams and the applications from both sides, so to speak. And, of course, being a bank, we want this to be compliant by design. Being a bank, we're in a heavily regulated industry, both from a regulation perspective, but also like internal processes and governance and legal and things like this. So we really wanted to do the legwork for all of the teams so that they don't have to fight all these processes themselves. Okay, so over the years, we've done some trade-offs. When we started, we said, if you run your application in a container, that's good, great, go nuts. With time, though, we have 1,000 Java developers. Of course, we were going to build this golden path that was Java, so you could get a bunch of things for free if you chose Java. But now, with time, we basically say, you should use Java. There are some teams that run Kotlin, which of course is fine, but we also said, run any framework. Now we say, you should probably run Spring Boot. We have some libraries. These are mostly to connect to other internal Swedbank systems. So of course, being a bank, we have mainframe. And so we have a library to connect to mainframe, for example. These libraries also started out being Java-based in some sense, but now they assume that you're running Spring Boot as well. One of our more controversial, I think, decisions, at least internally, is that we have limited the test environments. And like I think a lot of large organizations, there's a gazillion test environments. We have said there should be 2 environments, production and non-production. This causes some pain, and especially larger initiatives that want different environments, dev and test, do they run together, etc. So we're really trying to just simplify the developer experience, of course, so prod and non-prod, that's the aim. And I mean, when we started with this, everyone said that, yeah, changing the tech, that's the easy part, it's changing the culture, that's the hard part. And turns out they were right. But one of the things that we use to try to push the culture change is asking teams to try deploying more often. And the reason for this is that what usually causes teams to not deploy as often as we think they should are the things that we want to change. So some teams say that they do manual testing and we can't do this every day and deploy every day. Okay, well, it sounds like we should invest in helping teams making test automation easier. Or some teams want to coordinate the release with other systems or other teams. And this, again, we want the releases to be independent, so you should properly have APIs to do dependencies. You shouldn't, like in the middle of the night, push the button at the same time, etc. Some want to release a feature on a specific date, so maybe they have some external marketing campaign or something. And of course, we want to hide features so that they are independent from deploys. So we have systems to do feature flags, so you can roll out the feature independently of when it's deployed. So keep deploying every day, and whenever the feature should be toggled on, you can turn the knob to 1%, 10%, or 100%. We also want it to be super simple to deploy, of course. So this is a list of applications that I'm related to and their status. So when were they last deployed? You get a little yellow arrow if it's more than a week ago, yellow warning triangle rather. And you can see like the code diff, what are the pending features ready to be released, who is allowed to push the button to do the deployment, etc. We've also gamified the deploying to production. So we have achievements. So of course you have achievements for like deploying every day of the week or deploying 10 weeks in a row. We also have some cheeky achievements, like in the middle top there. We bet our weekend plans, deploying on a Friday after 3. And also some others, our monthly peak is of course salary day, the 25th in Sweden every month, and so you get an achievement if you dare to deploy on the 25th. We also send some metric updates to the teams, so every month they get a status report. This is how your application ranks with all the other applications. You're on position 16 or position 100 or etc. Trying to sort of, maybe you can improve or maybe you're doing good. We send simple email reminders. If it's been a while since they deployed, we should probably send another, we send a reminder and you should probably deploy. And we also have automatic emails to management. So we send emails 3 management layers up and say, in your organization, this is the best team from a deployment to prod perspective. So trying to get everyone involved in the entire organization to change this culture, basically. Okay, the current status. This is our start page for developers. It's where all our documentation is. It's where these achievements are, etc. And it has some stats. So it says, join the community. There are currently 662 other developers on Andromeda. So there's a lot of people. And we have 58 teams running 146 apps in prod right now. And there was 36 deploys to prod today. This is a few days ago, the screenshot. And 649 this year. So being February, it's about average. Here's a graph over the number of deploys that we have per month. Each color is a different team. And we're currently at around 500, 600 deploys per month in total. And so we expect this graph to continue up, both as more teams on board, but also as more apps are being built, and of course, hopefully, as the culture changes. And that is it for me. Thanks.
Right on time with 5 minutes to spare. Are there any questions? Yeah, one up there. Just wait for me, I'm coming, I'm too old.
This looks like a developer portal. Have you considered like using Backstage as a developer portal?
Yes, we have. We have a running version of Backstage, but we started a bit too early, before there was a proper way to sort of get your version of Backstage. So we forked Backstage, and it sort of died to the gazillion commits per week that Backstage has. So trying to rebase our version, keeping it up to date. It's sort of on the back burner now. We have another internal team that will take a look at developer portals, and we try to use industry standard tooling, so hopefully Backstage is the choice there. So, yes.
I don't know when you said developer portal, I immediately thought Backstage. Any other questions? Yes.
You just mentioned you had two environments, prod and non-prod. How do you deal with connected tests with other banks, for example?
Good question. We have one main integrated test environment, which is like centrally integrated, and typically our non-prod environments connects to that. If other systems, this is also internally, they have performance test environments, or they have dev environments, etc. We sometimes have some workarounds. Our end goal vision is that they should be deployed on demand. They should not be running all the time. That's our vision, but there are always exceptions, let's say.
Any other questions? Yes. Can you pass the microphone, please? It's all the way to
here. How do you deal with the different systems needing different test data if you all share the same environment, even if you have temporary ones?
It's also a problem. That's the short answer. Some want different test environments because they want different versions of the code running, so that they're like promoting code through different environments. That we definitely do not support. But we support running one application in multiple instances, so with different configuration. And there are some teams that have to do that just because they need different test data in some other system that calls them. But in general, it's a pain. You're right.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.